look the part, but let's see some of your moves.
Feeling like a star, you can't stop my shine. I'm loving Cloud City, my head's in the sky. I'm solo, I'm hunting solo, I'm hunting solo, I'm hunting solo. Yeah, I'm feeling good tonight. Finally feeling free and it feels so right. Oh, time to do the things I like. Gonna see a princess, everything's alright. Oh, no job but an answer to. Ain't a fixture in the palace zoo. No, and since the carbon lights off me, I'm living life now that I'm free. Yeah, told me get myself together. Now I got myself together. Now I made it through the weather. Better days are gonna get better. I'm so happy the carbon light is gone. I'm moving on. I'm so happy that it's over now. The pain is gone. I'm putting on my shades to cover up my eyes. I'm jumping in my ride. I'm heading out tonight. I'm solo. I'm hot solo. I'm hot solo. I'm hot solo. Picking up my plaster, putting it on my side. I'm jumping in my Falcon, Wookie at my side. I'm solo. I'm hot solo. I'm hot solo. I'm hot solo.
Okay, I can see you have some skills, but now it's my turn.
I forgot I made that longer. Your mic's off still. Hang on, I can't hear. Is your mic off? I can't hear you. Hang on. I heard everything else fine. Hang on. Oh, there you go. Was it your mic again?
No, it wasn't the mic. All of a sudden, it just froze. I mean, we started on time. We got the right introduction.
Right.
I think we need like an assistant producer.
Yeah, well, I can barely get. Let me just. I don't know. Let me get this. All right, so if anyone hasn't noticed that John is not with us, so he is. I mean, not. I don't mean that in a like. Oh,
He's not joining us tonight.
Don't send flowers to his house or anything. I mean, you could, I guess, but yeah, he's busy working on Beskar stuff or something. I don't know.
Do you think he's a lily guy or a rose guy? Like, if you were to send flowers to John, what would you send him?
I don't. I picture he would want filament. He's a filament guy. He's edible.
A dozen rolls of filament.
He's edible arrangements guy. You know.
Gotcha.
So yeah. So how's your week been?
It's been interesting. I don't have any costume corner stuff to talk about, and I don't have troop stuff per se. However, this past weekend, got together with some of the folks from Karita Garrison and the Mandalorian Mercs, and we celebrated Life Day ahead of time.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so they do the Maviola clan from Pennsylvania for the last, I'd say the last 4 or 5 years, outside of including when we could get together during the pandemic.
Right.
Have been getting together and watching the holiday special and doing a white bantha gift exchange and just, it's fun. I mean, this year there were 30 people that exchanged gifts.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, it was just fantastic, and the gifts range from 3D printed things. So the one year Heather and I got a 3D printed Grogu, back when Grogu was hot on the scene. And this year, somebody gifted a Trapper Wolf helmet.
Oh, that's nice.
So it's just so much fun. It was no stress, no drama, just folks getting together, eating good food, and just hanging out. It was really, 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 really nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Zoe missed it. I don't know because because she normally goes to that, but she didn't go this year, so I don't know. I don't know if she thought she would have to work or something. Who knows? That's cool though, because I think I went 1 year too.
Yeah, you went when when it was actually in Philly, I think.
Yeah, yeah, it was at Frank's house. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this one is up a little bit further. It's up towards Bethlehem, I think it is.
Oh, I would have went. I could have stopped at Vegan Treats and got donuts. Got me. That's like my guilty pleasure driving up to Bethlehem, PA to buy one donut.
How far from you are, or how far from Bethlehem are you?
2 hours.
Oh, geez, okay, it's like us then, just coming from different
I'm
directions.
just going diagonal. It's actually
Yeah.
probably further, but the nice thing is it's just like a straight shot on the highway.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty. It's yeah. Um, I might even be able to get there less because they changed some of the configuration, so I haven't really timed it. Usually when we go, it's just like, hey, we're just going to the whole morning shot. It's just go get a
Okay,
donut.
a donut.
That's well because the few times I bought like a dozen, I've eaten them all. And what makes those donuts good is they taste just like real donuts. But I think the extra ingredient is it's not love; it's just sugar.
Oh, fair. Okay.
It's just well, if we can't put lard in it, just put 5 more pounds of sugar in it.
Well, sugar is vegan. I didn't think of that until you
Well,
said.
it is. I mean, Oreos are vegan. I wouldn't recommend eating that many of them. I mean, they're just chemicals. I mean, you know.
Or Swedish fish vegan? I don't think they are because of the
It
the gelatin.
I don't think the Swedish fish have Jello in them.
Okay.
So, sir, it depends, and it depends where they come from. So, certain candies, like our country, you can pretty much put anything in food. But like in England, they have a lot of stuff that we have here, but it doesn't have like gelatin in it, or it doesn't
Okay.
have certain things in it that you can eat. So
Gotcha.
it's a weird path I've chosen to travel. I'm like David Carradine when he was walking around in Kung Fu. So, but yeah, other than the movie shoot, I didn't really have anything. We have our Life Day. Zoe's having a Life Day party Friday night with some friends. I want to say civilians. You know, like I don't want to be a gatekeeper person, but you and I know, like there's people like they're like, here's my friend who likes Star Wars, and because the guy has like one Star Wars tie, yeah, and then
So would that be like a leisurely fan?
I hate to put a name to it because that tends to make people think we think we're better.
Okay.
We just focus our love of Star Wars in a different way. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What's the phrase? Casual. That's the.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a casual fan.
Yeah, because I have a Star Wars club. We met today. We finished up watching New Hope, and with my sixth, seventh, and eighth graders in the Star Wars club today.
So does the story stand up in their minds? Like,
It
did they
does.
enjoy it?
It does. I think like there's. It's funny because I let them sit wherever they want, and you can gauge their interest by how they sit. So I have three that sit in chairs right in front of the screen, and they're glued to it. And I have a few that are like, "Hey, Mr. Hinton, can we sit on the tables?" And they're sitting on the tables off to the side. And then you have a couple that are just like kind of sitting and reading a book. And then you have a few in the back because our clubs were they got to pick three, and then they divvied them out. So every club got two or three people that we were their third choice. Yeah,
Gotcha. Fair enough. Okay.
but they all seem to the trench run. It was a nice way to segue in tonight. The trench run and the medal ceremony is a beautiful way to end Wednesday school day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goodness, yes.
I mean, so that was fun. That was about my Star Wars. I have Sabine's motorcycle helmet, the which we'll talk about when we do our Ahsoka thing, but the speeder bike helmet. I'm printing the last couple pieces of that. And I'm printing the last piece of the training helmet.
Wow. And are they coming out nice?
Yeah, they're coming out nice. The the mesh, or not the mesh. Yeah, the grill that I printed for the Sabine helmet, it finished yesterday. I forgot to change. I forgot to change some settings. So when I went to pull the supports off, it broke all the grill.
Oh,
So I could have just glued them. I probably could have just popped the pieces off and glued them. I was like, you know what? I have a 3D printer. I'll just print it a different way. I made the supports too thick. So
okay.
I'm just reprinting that. And then um, I worked a little bit on my 3PO head, believe it or not. That one that's been sitting on my bench for like 2 years.
Okay. The one you were trying to make the solid mold for, or the
Solid, yeah.
single mold?
I got it set ready to put in clay. So it'll probably go in clay Saturday. I'm waiting on my dishwasher. My dishwasher that went out Friday. It was supposed to be here today, and they didn't tell me, and so I forgot to tell Safi to listen for it. So my dishwasher is in limbo, and Zoe has her Life Day party. It's like kind of like I need my dishwasher. Yeah, so
Well, I mean, you could recruit some of the guests from the Life Day party and just say it's part of the festivities.
we probably could, but 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 yeah, that's my Star Wars. Uh, my other, and then I did send some Tusken Raider stuff to JT that was at our film shoot.
Okay.
Me a message and said my son wants to do a Tuscan, so I sent him a bunch of Tuscan parts to make
Nice.
for his son. I'd be a terrible capitalist. I was like, look, just give me $5 in shipping and I'll send it to you. So, you know,
Now, for that upcoming Life Day party, is it just going to be, watching the shows, or will it
I,
include?
I'm out of the loop. I'm just
Now, did you get an invitation for the party that's happening in your house?
I'm invited because I live here.
All right, fair enough.
So, yeah, no, I got invited, but I don't. Zoe, because I was like, what are you gonna do? So I said we have the Xbox where you dance to the solo song. I said you could make whatever traditions you make. That would be the life.
Yeah,
So I don't know what she's doing. I'll probably run some ideas by her when I go upstairs tonight.
because I mean, Life Day has both singing and dancing in it.
It does. Well, I was thinking of 3D printing a sphere. Um, but I didn't have the right filament, because if I have a translucent white, I was like, oh, that would be a cool, and then like I could like put two halves and then put an LED inside.
Well, don't you have those small
Oh, have those.
clear globes? You just put fairy lights in that.
That's a good idea. And then
Because that you could do quickly. You could just.
yeah, just hit it with a Dremel, scratch it up. That's a good idea. I also did I did print the star map, the rotating ball star map from Ahsoka.
I ordered one of those and still haven't gotten it yet.
I'll print you one.
Okay.
It's nice. It comes in it comes in 4 pieces plus the clips. They clip in, and then it comes with a stand.
Oh, that's even cooler.
So and the 3 discs turn. It's an easy print. I have it on the board. Once this grill does, I'll just print another one. I'll print it in gray for you. I'll put
So
it with your fit droid.
my droid parts.
Your droid parts.
I may have to plan another nor'easter to kind of blow me up there to just pick up the stuff instead of
Yeah.
mailing it.
Your wife's gonna not let you come anymore. You're gonna keep coming home with stuff.
Well, this time I actually would have a delivery. I purchased something this past weekend for you and John, and I was hoping to get it sent out. And I'm just a bad friend. I haven't sent it out yet either. So do you want to know what it is, or you want to be surprised?
I'd like to be surprised.
Okay, fair enough.
So
Yeah, because we were
we-
out and about and spotted it. I'm like, I got to get one for those guys.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, yeah, it was a good week for just getting a little stuff done. I'm just trying to knock stuff off the list. And that C3PO stares at me every time I go out in the garage. And so I was like, okay, I gotta get that done.
Speaking of C3PO, did you hear about Justin?
Oh, I knew that. I knew Justin was in there.
Oh, I didn't know that you knew that.
Yeah, that he was in Ahsoka?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, I saw that the night of. I'm sorry. Because I was like, I wanted to know exactly which one, because when I make these single heads, that's the first one I'm gonna paint. Because there's 2 different red ones. There's one with, I think it's solid red and the black halo. and then I think there's one with the jawline is red, like from here down is red.
Yeah, I
And
just read that today that he was on. I'm like, Jesus, this is so cool that
yeah, we saw it when we were watching the credits. The one me and Zoe sit through all those stupid credits, but yeah, he was we were trying to just guess which one because the one with the jaw was oh my his name
not
just
Chris Bartlett, is it?
Chris Bartlett.
It was.
He was that. Yeah, because then I sent him a message. I was like, hey, Zoe Safi's still interested. And he's like, yeah, we'll work on that. So that'd be an odd irony if Safi got out to Hollywood before Zoe.
Well, or if Safi got out to Hollywood and in something before any of us.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I tell you, like that's why I laugh at the people with C3POs because because even Dan who likes it, I've watched the mental anguish of him getting ready to wear it.
yeah, it's that you definitely have to psych yourself up for it. It
Where
seems.
Safi just on. You know what I mean? And I think that comes with just wearing difficult costumes since she was 4. Most of us started this later in life, And when you saw her getting chastised by Chris or me getting chastised by Chris Bartlett for having her, I'm like, I felt like saying to him, she doesn't mind being in the costume.
Yeah, is it considered abuse if they choose it?
Yeah. So, because like I said, celebration is 6 hours, which I can't imagine. But
Yeah, and sadly, I've yet to see a slightly obese protocol droid. I mean, they got chubby mannequins in Target now, but I've never seen a chubby protocol droid so I would
I'm gonna,
not qualify for that.
I think I'm just gonna have to just resign myself to doing costumes, which you can like that. There's I just I'm
I think the only thing I could do is an oversized gonk.
there. You go.
Yeah.
My one student also finished building a Gonk droid, a 3D model for our robotics team. We're the Perryville Gonkies, so she did a 3D model of our little tiny mascot.
Oh, that's very
It
cool.
was like a Star Wars day at work, which was pretty cool. But
I actually got to fit a Star Wars quote into a meeting. Was it this week or last week? And nobody even noticed.
yeah,
And so we were in this like status update kind of thing, and people were talking about doing this and something different and doing another thing, and I had to say, hold on a second, everybody. This is what our goal is. We need to stay on target. Yeah. So no one was any the
what's
wiser.
the
I'm like,
running and say he would cover you?
yeah, gold 5, red 5, or whatever it was. But yeah,
Well, so and since I just watched New Hope, so I was thinking about our run in with the mono bike riders at the trail,
okay.
and I was thinking about the negative comments of Star Wars over the years. And I was thinking of the one, and I think I've even said it, and I might have heard other people say it that I respect their opinion, but they always say about George Lucas's dialogue and how he couldn't write dialogue. And I was watching The New Hope, and I was like, I think that line that has been repeated by fans like myself and others. I wonder if that comes from before the movie came out. Like the lines sounded dumb because the words were made up. Like when you say, I give you these droids or this is, well, no one knew what a droid was.
Yeah.
But
Well,
when you
I mean,
watch it, like
even
what?
Harrison said the same thing. Well, I think the phrase was something to the effect of, "You can write this shit, but that doesn't mean
Yeah,
that we can say it." Like, gotta upload the coordinates into the Nava computer or whatever that phrase was.
right. But I don't you think that's one of those things where it gets over time. It meant that what you just said, but now people make it sound like George Lucas can't write dialogue.
Well, there's that piece to it, and what I another piece to that I find interesting is here we are, we're adult esque, thinking about a movie that was written for children. And so when you're writing something for children, you have to make things as condensed and simple as possible, even if the words are made up. Like the kids have to understand,
Right.
the context of it. So even the word Navi computer, it's got computer in there. So they got to at least pick up on some of it, because if it was all wildly foreign, it would just end up sounding like gibberish.
Right.
And
That's
then it'd be the Teletubbies.
I was just thinking that when I was rewatching, because I've been watching New Hope in like 15-minute chunks with these students, and I was like, it's not bad. The you know, and then like you said, it's made for children, and I would almost add to that, it's made for children and the young at heart,
Yeah.
because I think that's where my generation, these people that are getting bitter towards it, they forget what it's like to just enjoy something.
Yeah, and they also forget what it's like to just not even necessarily enjoy it, but just to witness something. They're instead of witnessing it as it is, they're looking for things that they like, so they're judging it that way. Oh, I really like this one part, so they're laser focused on that one part and what they like about it. Or they're looking at it and say, in comparison to something else, oh, this is not like Star Trek, so this is good, that is bad, or that is bad and this is good. And
Right.
so there's that comparison thing, instead of just allowing it to be what it is. And with that in mind, if you allow it to be what it is, it gives you the opportunity to go back to it over and over and over and over again, and still be able to see new stuff or fresh stuff. And the silliest example that I can use, so Star Wars came out in 77. I don't know if I saw it in 77. I probably saw it a few years after that. It wasn't until the Solo movie came out that I realized or learned that pair of dice was dangling from the Millennium Falcon, and that was decades later. And I had seen that movie, hundreds of times by that point, and I still was able to see something new when I watched it.
And I only knew about the dice from the Decipher card game from 93 or 94. That was one of the cards, Solo's dice. And so when I saw that, I went back and tried to find them in the VHS tape. So
And it's funny because here we're talking about observation, and so one of the episodes of the Rambling Star Wars fan that I'm in the process of putting together is the things that Star Wars inspires people to do. And one of those things is to pay attention, not from a place of judgment, but just of a place of observation. So,
mhm,
what am I watching? What am I hearing? Because in some cases, what you're hearing and what you're seeing don't match. So, like you look at Chewbacca,
yeah,
he's this giant bear dog kind of thing. And you're hearing the sounds of other animals and not even knowing that they're other animals. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
or even the fact that so you've got the TIE fighter soaring through space, and it's making a sound.
right.
So from a scientific standpoint, that makes zero sense. There's from what and I've never been to space, so I
Yeah,
can't confirm this, but I've heard in space there's no sound.
right. Oh yeah. No, and that's the thing I think that because if you like that stuff, great. But to me, if you had to learn, like I used to have a book of like the Enterprise and all the devices in it. It seemed like homework. Like it really did. It was like, what you have to couple this. I was like, oh, I don't, just give me the Millennium Falcon. You know, just let me know that the Millennium Falcon can fly,
Yep. Well, and not even just fly, but it can also hover.
hover,
You
and
know,
gravity, no space suits, everything.
Yeah, and that's funny you said, because so in the ship they're walking around with their feet on
Yeah,
the floor of the ship. They're not floating around like you see, the astronauts doing um, the space stations or anything like that.
and I had friends that used to come in my store, my comic book store, and they would try to explain that how it worked, and I was just like, yeah, I really don't care. You know what I mean? I don't care that, because that also comes. They were like, well, look, if Han Solo traveled through hyperspace all this times, when he got back to Alderaan, so and so would be older or so and so would be younger. Like, oh no, no, I don't want any. I don't want any of that. You know what I mean?
Or even the wait a minute, if it in the movie it only took them this long to get somewhere in hyperspace, why did it take less time to get somewhere that's farther? And
Yeah, yeah. That's
they're
kind of
trying to scientific it too far up. And I can remember, when the sequel trilogy came out. I'm not lying when I say this. Not that I've ever lied to you before, but somebody complained to me about there were no bathrooms. They didn't see any bathrooms. So how can this make any sense that they're traveling, to other planets, but there's no bathrooms on the ships anywhere? And it wasn't until the Mandalorian came out and said, "See, there you go, buddy. Like there's your bathroom. It's not called a bathroom, but there it is."
yeah. Well, I think the blueprints of the Falcon had a bathroom in it. They used to sell these blueprint books, like not the cutaways, but I think there was like a fold out blueprint or something of the Millennium Falcon. If I remember being a kid, it had a bathroom in it of some sort.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
But yeah, that's the stuff. I was just um, I don't know. I just I I'm getting really just tired of the oddball news. Like today, what did I read today? They were talking about Pedro Pascal wants to leave the Mandalorian, right? So I was like, okay. So then it's just one article someone wrote that he had said something a year ago about being busy, but not he didn't, and I don't know.
Well, even um, so a few years ago we heard that Taika Waititi was working on a movie,
Yeah,
and folks are trying so hard to confirm whether it's actually happening or not.
right.
So instead of just letting it be, if it comes out, it comes out. When it comes out, it comes out. But now, like, oh, it's dead, and it's another example of Kathleen Kennedy lying to us, and yeah, like, okay, if believe what you want to believe, but what is the true benefit of digging up this kind of dirt, or spinning these yarns? Does it really come down to the world we live in now, that I have to put this thing out there in an effort to get people to click on my article because then I get ad revenue, or what? Like what is the or it's retweeted or re-xed or whatever it's called nowadays.
Yeah, right. Well, and like if you look at the two movies that were retooled by um, Lucasfilm, which in turn would be Kathleen Kennedy, who have to sign off them. It's Rogue One and Solo. And besides box office numbers, because I'm tired of judging movies by box office numbers. Box office numbers and Rotten Tomatoes are the two things I don't want to hear about
Yeah.
anymore with in regards to movies. But the rewatchability by the fans, the people that watch them and enjoy them, Rogue One and Solo, you rarely find people that have negative things to say about those.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And
Even though, like you said, Kathleen Kennedy, not only did she sign off on the changes, she's one of the people that was involved in having those changes made.
yep, yeah, they were not afraid to fix something they thought was wrong.
Yeah.
So and again, not every movie is going to be for every person, which is fine. Just don't talk about what you don't like forever. Because I was thinking about the Solo movie is because we were filming the Han Solo Chronicles. So I've been watching snippets of the Solo movie. Like I'll just turn Disney Plus on while I was doing dishes and stuff like that. I know that movie is so fun.
And I think that was a missed opportunity in terms of the things that could have come with it. I mean, I know they did the Denny's promotion where you got the cups and the cards and all that kind of stuff. Um, and they had like a cardboard play set of
Yeah.
that that was it, the Conveyex. What did they call that train?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
So they had some of those things, but there was a lot of room for as you can see looking around me. I like the stuff. They
Well,
could
yeah,
have.
it goes back to the toys. Honestly, I'm hoping that this vintage line of I'm hoping they catch on more than the Black Series because they're just enjoyable to look. They give you an action figure, and they give you that feel of the olden, you know, And it looks like you can throw it to a 5-year-old and they can play with it and not break it or choke on it.
Yeah, or lose all the little bits.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you get the little creature, you get the blaster that's
It's 6 different hands or,
four faces. Like there's I think it's either a Hoth trooper or some other rebel trooper that when you open up the backpack, there's another face. So you can.
Now, have you seen that now they sell at the Disney store, they sell boxes of like 5 or 6 Hoth troopers. Like
Like an
diorama
army builder, really?
box. It's 3.5, I guess they're the 3.5-inch size of
Okay.
Hoth troopers. It's just a white box with a drawing of Hoth troopers on it. And I think you get 5 or 6 of them.
Oh wow.
So I just have to walk away from that stuff quick. I'm like, I can't collect anymore. I need big stuff, not little stuff. So
Yeah, I say that, and at that Life Day party, I ended up getting a new figure. They ended up in
oh,
our
nice.
in
Oh,
our in our white bantha surprise. We got
nice. Oh, that's cool though.
the K2 SO kind of thing, and there's a little BD unit here, and then there's a blaster, but it's painted white and red
Nice.
and green.
That'll be the figures like 20 years from now that are going to be like the vinyl cape Jawas. You know, they're like, does anyone have? It'll just be this. It'll be either Constable Zuvio or one of those Christmas figures. It'll be one of those two.
Yeah. Well, they even made some Halloween ones too.
Yeah, yeah. That
You know.
came out after Halloween the one year.
Yep. This year, I think it was.
Yeah, yeah. But I think when they originally came out, they came out after Halloween. But yeah, that's
So when you were watching the kids watch A New Hope, had any of them seen it before, or was it new for
Some of
them?
them had some of them, like most of them are like, oh, my dad likes this. The one kid, so we had to make clubs, and so last year this kid kept bugging me, Mr. Hinton, we do a Star Wars club, and I just couldn't. I had so much stuff going on.
Yeah.
I couldn't stay after school one more day for probably like 2 kids. It sounds terrible, but I just couldn't do it. So when they had us come up with the clubs, I think the admin thought I was going to do like robotics club or coding club. I was like, I want to do Star Wars club because it would just be a nice way to end the day. And so when the kids came and I said, what do you want to do? And they said, well, we want to watch Star Wars. And I said, okay, where do you want to start? And the kid who wanted to start the club said, can we do it in release order? So I was like, okay, there we go.
The
So,
fact that he knows that phrase is pretty impressive by
yeah,
itself.
so we started with New Hope. I just did the the DVD. I didn't grab the Blu-rays. I grabbed the DVDs,
Okay.
which I know there's some changes in the Blu-rays, but and then I said at the end, I said, do you guys want to watch something else or do you want to keep going? And so they want Empire next Wednesday, or well, not next Wednesday because we don't have school, but the following Wednesday we'll do Empire. So I told them all about Life Day. I said, wear it red. And then I think if the clubs keep going, I am going to see if I can convince them to wear Jedi robes around the May the 4th.
Oh, that will be fun
We'll see. We'll see how that works out.
because they have those at the Disney store, I think,
Yeah,
don't they?
yeah. Well, and I'm, I just even any kind of robes. I'm going to try. I tried to start a group last year of teachers. I was like, we should all wear Jedi robes on May the 4th to show our inner nerd, also to show kids that it's okay to like something that maybe everyone else doesn't like, So, um,
Well, with that in mind, what if you had some teachers wear Jedi robes and other teachers wear Harry Potter robes?
that's yeah, yeah,
You know?
yeah. That's I was just doing May 4th.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea, though. But that's my possible plans in the future. It's when you were talking about your upcoming episode of how Star Wars influences, that's like our Star Wars stories that Zoe was on. Every single one of those is that. Like I don't know if you've watched any of those our Star Wars
Oh
stories.
goodness, yeah. I have. I'm sappy. I have to say this out loud, so if it ever came out in a different way, I could verify it. I cried every single one of them.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of those people, Star Wars set their life on a path.
Yeah.
Because like when I met Sal and Liz, they were the first people I really met that consciously used Star Wars in their daily life. Like you would think being the 501st, I would meet that, but it wasn't that way with. I mean, there's a few now, but when I first started there, it was just like, oh, I troop, and my kids they just run around like idiots, you know. So
And is there enough time during Star Wars Club to watch a little bit and then talk about it, or is it watch a little
well,
bit and
it's weird. We have because of the way our busing, clubs are only made due to busing problems. It can be anywhere from 15 minutes to 35 minutes, and we don't know.
gotcha? Okay.
Yeah. Like that's our that's how the whole thing rolls. So, but yeah, like a lot of times we'll do discussion while they're coming in. We'll do a little discussion, and like one time I had all those extra Boba Fett decals I made when I was so I took them in. I was giving them out. I was like, does anyone know what this is? The kids that knew, I give them some stickers, and then I think I'm gonna get on the Cricut and make some bigger decals for them and stuff. Just something fun. Um, I would have liked to do more for Life Day, but we had like a whole bunch of issues this week with like stuff that isn't fun.
Life stuff.
Yeah, at school that we had to deal with as a system, and it ate up a lot of our time. So,
Oh man.
but yeah, I'm gonna try to get an R2. I'm gonna try to get someone to bring an R2. Um, we're going to in the January, February, March months. We haven't figured out when we want to have a Star Wars night. And I'm gonna get the 501st there to do it. See if I can get them to do a twofold. Do a mini troop at the beginning, and then do a panel and costuming for the parents. So if the parents bring their kids to watch Star Wars, and they don't want to watch it, they can come listen to a panel on what we do. So
Well, keep me in the loop for that, because depending on when it is, I might be able to
yeah, no,
swing over.
I'm trying to get it on a Friday, which is like impossible to get people to do stuff on the school on a Friday. But I was like, look, if we want to be effective and help the families, giving them something to do on a Friday night that doesn't cost an arm and a leg
You bet.
is the night.
Especially something that could be as interesting as this.
Yeah. So yeah, because you and I live in that Star Wars silo. I keep forgetting sometimes because we do it so much. But when kids and parents see us, it's just like when we were filming that movie, people were like going nuts on that. I joined some of those rails to trails things just to address the stuff that people are putting about our stuff. So, next time we need a QR code that takes them to the Solo Chronicles on your pink shorts.
That could work.
So
Although I don't know if I'll have room for the QR code and suns out, buns out. I'm not sure.
that's true. That's true. The
I don't
twin
think
sun's out.
yeah,
Buns out. It's just
twins,
the twin-
yeah, twin buns out.
yeah.
What's really funny to me is I still find it humorous that there was talk of that, knowing for me in the back of my head that I had planned on it, and then when it happened, I was like, "Yep, that's Ken." Like no, nobody batted an eye. Like no, at least not to me. They didn't.
Now, so um, we had to send a picture in for a newsletter. Did I tell you last week?
No.
So they do a news. They feature two teachers every I think it's once a month. They feature two teachers and they do like literally like not even a paragraph, like a couple sentences. And we had to submit a picture. Let me see if I can find the picture. I might have deleted it. We had to submit a picture. Yeah, it looks like I deleted it. Of what we do. And so, I wrote up like love technology, blah, blah, blah. And I try to convey that to my students through, and I some about Star Wars. But then the picture I sent, because I hate photographs of myself, I took a picture of my computer with all the stuff I teach sitting around it. And on the screen, I had the picture of Weird Al spooning with me.
Oh, that's funny.
So, and the principal said it was the best profile they've done all year. So I'll take that as a compliment. But my wife hates that picture. She's like, oh, what? She just looks at me sometimes like,
Why? Why did she hate that
you know,
picture so
she
much?
just in a fun way. Like
Yeah.
it's just, she just my wife. She knew that I was this way my entire life. Um, but yeah, she just like. But I wonder, is that your pink shorts with your wife? Like is she just like?
Well, it may be the most recent one that And what's really interesting is when I was younger, I did not want to be in pictures.
No, yeah, yeah,
Did not like I had I didn't even really smile. I smirked because I was really self-conscious about my teeth. Um, I think I was self-conscious from head to toe, whether it's
yeah, yeah.
my hairstyle, the clothes I was wearing, whatever. But then as I got older and started to care differently or less, I would especially in high school, what I started to do is because I knew people would make comments about my stuff. So I would go to the extreme and give them something to talk about. So I would choose the story. So I used to shop at like Goodwill kind of things, and I'd get the wild prints, or I would wear shorts in February even though there was 3 feet of snow outside in upstate New York and that kind of stuff. So if you're going to talk, sure, talk about this. Let me give you something to talk
Yeah,
about.
you'll pinpoint where they're going to. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Instead of just being open to whatever slings and arrows they wanna send.
yeah. I tried to just stay in the shadows, like when I was in school, because I like Star Wars. I went to a school where Star Wars was considered the devil. I played Dungeons and Dragons. That was considered the devil. You know what I mean? Like I did all these things. I read comic books. Um, and I had when I was really young, my canine teeth came in with cavities, like my baby teeth, like they were just giant cavities. Because I was raised by my grandparents had 3 teeth between them both, you know, and we had well water out in the country. And I think I didn't brush my teeth the first time until I was like in kindergarten. You know what I mean? Like it just was not. And but I was always a pretty happy-go-lucky kid, I would say, until probably until my 30s, and then I got a little too serious, I guess. I don't know. So I'm slowly getting that back, hanging out with you, and you know, I, I'm I was told by uh, Quinn that I always seem to have a bunch of people following me everywhere they look. Like, I don't know about that. So, um, but yeah, but again, Star Wars has just been that happy thread through my life.
Yep.
Like just it's always, even the years that I would say I strayed from it, which is the years I strayed from Star Wars. If someone said like pick a couple years that you just weren't, it was probably around Return of the Jedi. Just because I was into cars, because I knew car for me equaled freedom. Like that's just you know
Yep.
like pre cars. I was like those catalogs that we have as our background here. Where's my hand? Here.
Yeah.
I'm like background here. Um, Pre cars, I memorized those catalogs inside and out. Like I knew what page the $6 million man figure was on, or the Stretch Armstrong or Star Wars. I knew exactly where it was and what number. Like my grandmother would always say, write the page number. I would write the page number and the number and all that stuff. And and then there was a couple years where the auto locator, remember that?
Yeah.
I carried one of those with me like the Bible. And I knew how much money I had for a car, and I just looked constantly until I, was able to get a car. So, um, but besides that, Star Wars has never left my consciousness.
And even though I wasn't as intense with Star Wars as I am now, partially because I have, a little bit of adult discretionary money, can go and buy a helmet, or, go to Anaheim for celebration and that kind of stuff. It didn't matter what form Star Wars came to me, I enjoyed it. So it could be, the back of a cereal box, or a Happy Meal, or an article in a magazine, a comic book, a novel, or sitting down and watching the movies. It was always always enjoyable. And I usually don't speak in those extreme languages of always and never, but
Right.
for me,
You're Sith.
Star Wars, yeah, yeah, absolutely, a million percent yes. And it wasn't. It has only recently become less enjoyable, not because of it itself, but about the stuff that swirls around it.
Yeah.
You know, so even if I'm sitting there watching it and have a big smile on my face, it's like, what are you smiling about? This is the worst Star Wars ever. Or
Ruined my childhood.
yeah, it's like a kick in the groin. Like, okay,
Well, that's what I think it's bringing young me back because young me didn't give a crap what people thought, and I'm getting more and more when it comes to regards to Star Wars. I understand people have opinions; it's fine, but it doesn't affect my opinion. And like I just remember seeing, um, I think it was right before I got married, so it was '93. Suncoast Video. I remember we had just Missy and I just rented a house. We were getting married in a couple months, and we were setting it up. And we were walking in Park City Mall, and I walked in, and they had, I think it was like $100. It was the letterbox edition of.
VHS.
I was like, "What? I can get." It was. It just seemed, and that was one of my first big purchases for that. And oh man, and then I watched them, and I was like, "Oh man, we have a crappy VCR. I can't watch it that much, or because there's it would start munching on the tape, you
Yep.
know." So.
Get crinkly or whatever. You have to adjust the tracking and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, tracking, that's what it was called. You had to play with the tracking little thing. But I just remember that, and, it just never left. And then when the Decipher game came out, that card game was garbage, but the cards were so beautiful because it had the pictures of the 2 different TIE fighter pilots, and it had given them names and numbers and all that kind of stuff. It had pictures of weapons that you didn't even see in the movie, but and it had Solo's dice and
And
stuff.
see that to me then makes the movies or the stories even more exciting and more full.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
because even with the toys, the original toys, yes, they had goofy names like Pruneface and Snaggletooth and Hammerhead and all that kind of stuff. They still gave them names. I mean, how
Oh, yeah.
many TV shows did we watch where there were many people on the screen, but you didn't know who they were. You just paid attention to the 3 or 4 main people, and everybody else was useless. But
Yep.
with Star Wars, it seemed like everybody had a story.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody played a part in some way. And then when it expanded into the games and the other stuff, and then they told the stories. Even now when they're coming out, I think we've talked about it a couple times. The like the 40th anniversary of, or from a certain point of view, where they
Yeah.
tell stories about individual characters that we've seen on the screen for 6 seconds each viewing, and now they've got however long the story is.
And those writers are fighting for obscure characters, you know?
Yes.
Like, okay.
Yes, like I want to be the one who writes a story about Jess, Ulah's friend or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. And that's what's cool too with Star Wars is because you always found that one person that really liked that one character for whatever reason. Either they just really liked it or
Yep,
they wanted to like something. They wanted to make something their own that no one else did. Like
yep.
I always liked Jawas. I don't know why. From the first time I saw them, and when my girls could be a Jawa, it was like I came full circle. Like I was so picky about their Jawa costumes, and I'm like, I'm wearing FX armor with a giant bucket that doesn't really look right, and I'm like, okay, I got to move their eyes down just a little bit, and I got, you know what I mean?
Got to give them the right Jawa sound. It has to be pitched properly.
Well, no, I when they were little, they had, um, uh, what are they? Little Apple eye shuffles. They had
Okay.
shuffles on their hands, like Spider Man, kind of. And I took the Jawa sounds and looped them 2 loops, but I changed the pitch on one, so they both sounded different. So,
Even though the sound was similar.
yeah, so
And that's like to be able to watch something or read something and then go make something like that rhythm is fantastic, even to the point where you know some of the people that we admire and idolize now, so whether it's James Cameron or um, Ryan Johnson or John Knoll, they saw the thing got excited and went and made something with it, or Chris Bartlett, or even to a similar but lesser degree, you, me, and John, where we see that picture, we see that character, like, yep, I want to dress like that guy, and
Well,
it's
you
really
watch you watch it when you put people in armor. Like John walks like the Mandalorian when he's in his Mando armor. When
Yeah.
I'm my stormtrooper and walking around, as soon as I took that armor off, my ankle hurt all day. Then I couldn't walk right because my ankle hurt even more. And I had more comfortable shoes on, didn't have armor on. But it was just like your brain is like you're a stormtrooper. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And as goofy as this is about to sound, or as sappy as this is about to sound, I'm going to say it anyway. Working on the film with you and Matt, and to be behind the scenes. So I'm not doing anything important. I'm holding a I'm holding a long stick with a fuzzy thing on the end that's attached to a microphone. It's not from, especially the way I do it. There's not a lot of skill there, and I'm glowing from the inside out because I'm doing the thing that I've seen other people do for decades, and I'm involved in it. I'm a
Yeah.
part of this, even though, at the end, nobody's going to be able to watch this on YouTube or watch this in their living room. And say, "Ooh, that's some great booming!" Like, that's like
That's
whoever.
well, you know what though? That on in that Death Star scene in New Hope, they did get the mic in frame, so you did better than that guy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They had to reshoot. Poor Peter Mayhew had to run around as Chewie a little extra because of that. You know,
And at least there's no hair. Even if there was a hair on the microphone, who's going to know?
but
But it's
no, I know exactly what you're feeling. I mean, you're saying because um, it's it's just it's just one other way to to do what we love. Like that was a long day,
yes,
and like me and Zoe didn't have food because everyone forgets that like pizza is not an alternative, and we always forget that people forget. Like normally we should have just bought a sub, put it in the car, and I didn't even care. You know, I didn't even care. I just had, and when we started that day, I was just like, oh, let's just get this over with, and I had a blast. And, like if he would call today, I would have just as much vigor to go film somewhere else.
yeah. Especially if he says something like, "Oh, it's going to be like it was last time,"
Yeah, yeah.
because I think that last time, not that the other ones were bad times, but that felt exceptionally awesome.
It felt like we were doing stuff.
Yeah.
And now, like I'm probably going to just get a cheap overall suit and make an alien pilot, and I'm going to use that guy's head right there
The
on the corner.
Godel.
That's what I'm going to use.
Yeah, I gotta. Has he said when he wants to film the Rebel set?
He has not. We should have him on. We should have a Solo Chronicles.
Well, maybe too. That could be part of the next visit for me to come and see you as we work on some a pair of Rebel costumes or
Yeah,
something. Because I think as even if I don't get on screen, and just do the booming or the clapping or whatever, it would be fun to have an opportunity to be on the other side of that
because
camera.
I could 3D print pretty much all the Greeblies we need. The hardest part's that white vest, which if we're making it for a movie, that's probably easier said than done. I mean,
Well,
easier.
are there Rebels that we can make that aren't pilots though,
That's true.
like
I,
mechanics or?
I was thinking more pilots, but I didn't think about that. But yeah, so I also found the files for the helmets from Rogue One. If you have an army helmet, there's 3D prints of these things that just stick on
Oh,
them.
the sleeve that go over them.
It just goes right over the helmet.
Yeah.
So, and I have two fiberglass liners, and I have one metal. I think it's World War II or early Korean dome that I'm just going to make into that.
Okay.
So I'll just hot glue it. It'll come off if like what am I going to do with they're like, don't wreck that army helmet. It's like, you know, okay, it's worth a lot of money. It's a metal helmet that's followed me around since I was 12. You know, so yeah, that was. I mean that, but that's again, that just comes down to this love of what we do and this podcast. I mean, it's going to be 2 years that we've been doing this soon.
That's
That's
wild to
that's
me.
ridiculous. I mean, I didn't check our numbers for last week, but we have to. You know, it seems like when it's just you and John, the numbers go up. So I'm not going to take it too personal, but
Well, maybe it's because you're behind the scenes telling people to go watch it. Is that what you do?
I guess I I'm just glad that we can do it. I still got to start hitting up the people for the Keystone or whatever that is to get us. I want to get us a table.
The
Like
Fan
this
Expo?
fan expo. Get us a table. I think that would be a lot of fun because I was talking to Marty. It'd be neat to have like a small table. It could be with the costumers or whatever, but it has to be done differently than it has to be like more engaging in a fun way, not a like an approachable way. Is that a good way to say it?
Yes.
You know, um, but yeah,
And to have it also be not just approachable, but some built-in interactive kind of thing. Because one of the things that I'm not always comfortable about going to these conventions when you're walking down the aisles as a tourist and you just want to see the stuff and the person's like, hey, let me tell you, they throw on the sales pitch thing. Let me tell you why this comic is so great and I think you should buy it right now. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go
right, right.
like just let me see what I see and that kind of stuff. But sometimes I think the artists are somewhat pushy sometimes, not all the time, but even with the the cosplayers, sometimes even oh here do you want to buy one of my 8x10s here? You can get this one in this costume or that one in this costume or how about you just stand with me and I'll charge you $5 for a picture. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's I mean that's the rub. But and I just maybe because I had taken kids to cons and I'm sure you have too. I don't know. Did your boys go to cons with you?
yeah, and what's interesting when they were younger, they were much cooler with it, and then as they got older, they were less cool with it. Um,
Well, but I just know as a parent, you're looking for anything that's free because you've
yeah,
already paid to park, you've already paid to get in there, and then usually as soon as you get in, they want to eat. They don't want to eat like outside where it's like half price. But
or
it's
breakfast in in the living room.
yeah, and so then anything that's free because that's why I always liked. I never have you ever dealt with Blasted Trooper?
As in being blasted, being one of the blasted? No. I've witnessed
I
it,
just
but
always disliked that because it just cost people money. Like I understand at a certain point we raise charity, but I like the charity of just giving people. Charity does not have to have a dollar amount attached to it.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Um, it looks like the strike is going to be officially over. I don't know if they finished the vote yet, um, so that's good. I don't know.
Yeah, well they're there are actors out talking about stuff. I mean, Tom Hiddleston was talking about the second season of Loki and the actors and actresses are sending out or not sending out, but they're sharing,
Behind the scene
set
photos.
yeah, exactly. The
I do feel bad for some of them though. I feel bad for some of them that missed out because of it. I mean, it's still like you're an actor in a good show. Okay, you'll survive. But I do feel
well, I think they miss out on some of those like for instance the road show of it where they go on this nighttime show or they go to this event and to really build up the excitement or share some of the excitement for it.
but
Yeah,
and I did you watch Loki?
yeah,
What'd you think? I liked it.
I liked it a lot, and I was also really confused by much of it as I was watching it. And the only thing I kept telling myself and Heather this is a comic book show. So there are going to be some things that are like wild and outside of logic or reality or and let's just watch it. And even if we have to watch it 6 times, let's watch it 6 times.
Well, I didn't really care for it until the last episode, and then it made me like the whole season.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, it's okay. It's, and then the last one hit. I was like, oh, I loved every now every it was like it was like a one of those puzzles with all the numbers or whatever. What do they call it that open up?
The Codex.
It was a codex. And I was frustrated until that last thing locked in place, and then I liked the whole thing.
Well, that I think that's a wonderful example too of these shows. Sometimes people watch the first episode and they will judge the whole entire thing that they haven't seen yet based on that one episode.
Yeah.
And the fact that you were able to have the endurance to watch all of them, and then the last, like, oh, now I get it. Now some of those other pieces fall into place and they make more sense. Or in my case, it's I need to go back to a couple of these things because I want to make sure that what I think happened did happen, or to kind of connect those dots.
Well, and that was another one of those shows that the real world kind of hurt them, because the gentleman who played Kang got in all kind of allegations and trouble, which I don't know about, in the real world. So they had to kind of change where it was going,
Yeah.
you know. So that's just the joy of when that's the problem when they drag these shows out forever. People have too much time to do nonsense and silliness.
Yes, yes. Or, the folks who are in that are they behave in ways that get themselves in trouble with we'll use Gina Carano as an example. She was in The Mandalorian, and then said some stuff, and which she has the right to say.
Yeah.
I totally support her freedom to say what she wants to say, and freedom of speech does not necessarily mean freedom from consequences. So if you say these things, there's the possibility that those things, impact other aspects of your life. So
Well, yeah, and I think in her case, she suffered from having a very bad agent, because
maybe,
if if an actor of her caliber has any good agent and they got a job like that, they would have said, "Shut up and take take your paycheck." So,
maybe. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean,
yeah, no,
and like
you know,
I said, I 1,000,000% support her freedom to say what she wants, and I don't have to like what she says or agree
right,
with what she
I agree,
says.
I agree.
Just like she doesn't have to like what I say. That's fine too.
Even
And
just
I know that if I say certain things, that it may not go well for me.
fan club letter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was hoping John was here because Ahsoka, but I might watch Ahsoka for a third time before we do it. It'll give me time to do our homework.
Yeah. And so, a couple of the things I think would be fun for us to talk about related to Ahsoka. Um, there's been times where Dave Filoni has said that, according to his interactions with George, George says to give the kids hope, give them, make sure that you're building these things with hope. So, as we talk about Ahsoka, what are some examples that we can see from the Ahsoka that give us hope? Either hope of those characters, hopes of more Star Wars stuff. And then George himself has said that when he was putting things together, he'd like to incorporate new stuff.
Yeah,
So, what kind of new stuff did we see in Ahsoka? um, that encourages us to.
early and didn't tell me for over a year.
What
That's what
was that?
that's what Ahsoka taught me. Zoe had seen pictures of Ahsoka the White. She had seen pictures of the uh, Anakin, all the versions of Anakin, and she didn't tell me. She's seen them over a year ago, and
Oh,
she
that's pretty funny.
because they asked her not to say something. So if anyone's out there listening that needs to hire someone that knows how to follow an NDA, that's my Zoe.
Yeah, she's definitely built for that kind of world.
Yeah. So, but yeah, she was hoping that Matt had another camera, but he didn't really have anything for her. So she was just like, "I'm just going to take pictures and hold this big silver thing."
And she got to do some recording of like a little interviews.
Yeah, yeah. I hope those come out.
Yeah, I always wonder with that because I think she was doing those with a GoPro, and for me, if I don't get to watch it right back, or if I can't see where w- am I really pointing this in the right
I
direction?
think I think Matt had a lot of plans, and he was just trying to get as many as down as possible. He needs someone to build him a nice paper schedule for everything he wants to do. I'm the same
Well,
way.
well, and to have that little person with a cattle prod, keeping him reined in, because one of the challenges for him, I bet, has got to be being the actor, the director, and all of those things at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and see, in my family, we have Zoe and Missy. Zoe has color coordinated schedule. She schedules everything. Even now, she's everything's scheduled to like if she's like going to play Fortnite with friend, whatever. It's in her schedule. And my wife's the same way. It's just everything's scheduled. Me and Staff we were kind of like, what are you doing today? What's today's date? you know. So like
Yeah, I'm somewhere in the middle there. It depends.
at work, I'm scheduled because I have to be. But outside of work, I'm just like,
Well, even to the point when I do errands, as I don't know, some people might describe this as stupid. I describe it as economical, both from time and money. If I'm going to go out and run errands, I think of what side of the road the things are on. So I go,
yeah, I
I,
do.
yeah, I call it looping. And Heather makes fun of me for, she used to make fun of me for it. But then we got up one day and she's like, okay, I want to go here, here, and here. I'm like, wait a minute, did you just loop before breakfast? Because it was like, we're going to go down this side of the road, we're going to cross over and come home.
Well, that's how I am in the grocery store. Missy can't grocery shop because she drives. She's organized except for grocery shop. Me, I put the grocery list in the order of the aisles.
Now, here's a silly question with that. When do you get your cold stuff?
Well, see, I go in the order of the aisles because I live 10 minutes from the grocery store.
Okay.
So if you live 20 minutes away, I'm still in and out and home before you know. But I load my cart backwards so it goes into bags correctly.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Or but now see now I've discovered that we have a Whole Foods in Lancaster and their produce is cheaper than the other grocery stores around here. It's not a commercial for Whole Foods, but so that changed my whole thing because I don't know Whole Foods store very well. But I don't really go much past the produce really because I don't buy meat, don't
Gotcha.
buy dairy. So
Because our loop is typically we get the pet food stuff first because that's at the far end of the one store. Then we go around to the where the toys are because we got to see what they have there, and then we get our cold stuff last. After we've gone through and got the rest of the groceries, the cold stuff is last, and then we
see
head to the register.
when I was growing up, my grandmother bought certain things at certain stores. So grocery shopping day was every other week, and it was the entire day. Like you
Did
wouldn't.
she have a little envelope with coupons?
Oh yeah, yeah. And she would be like, okay, we get our sodas at Acme, and our this at this, and our this, and it was you went to. She probably went to 10 different stores to get, you know. And then when I was a kid, she only packed cheese and mustard sandwiches anyway. She didn't want my food to go bad, so I got cheese and mustard sandwiches all through school, from kindergarten on. That's what I ate.
Wow, not even bologna.
No, that meat would go bad. She was like,
Does bologna ever go bad?
I guarantee you it does not. Well, when the kids were little, we ate meat, and I was cleaning the car out one day, and Safi, we would never let them have like if we stopped somewhere, they were never allowed to have their cookies until they ate their food. So they would normally get chicken nuggets. So those baby seats, there's whatever, they're kind of hollow in the plastic,
Uh huh.
stuffed full of chicken nuggets. They were there for probably 2 years. They didn't feel any different than new ones. She was just stuff them. I'm done. Like she was like 3. But the whole like it was like you picked up the like it's not a baby seat, but it's the one after that. It's not
Yeah.
a booster, but
Yeah.
it rattled and it was full of chicken nuggets.
So, so your kids were taught to lie to you at an early age.
Well, I was Sappy, not Zoe. Zoe was like by the book. But, yeah. Sappy
Look,
was
no more.
here one time yelling like she was being kidnapped because I wouldn't let her go in the play area. Yeah. But
Oh
look,
my
it was,
goodness.
speaking of my wonderful Sappy, though, Snapper newspaper
Yep.
from Millersville, they did a story on
Oh, very cool.
some girl wrote, they had to write articles, I think, in their one writing class about a fellow student. And the professor liked the story about Sappy so much that he suggested they put it in the Snapper.
That's really cool.
In her first semester, she got in the Snapper too.
I thought it was going to be a Safi sighting.
Right there.
Nice.
Because they got a box when they got accepted. So you were supposed to, we just walked around Millersville, her carrying this acceptance thing and made it. You know how I am with my kids. You got to send 50 billion pictures of it. So
That's cool. Well, with that in mind, if we're bragging about stuff, Heather just got her notification that she has completed her bachelor's, and
nice.
she has formally and officially earned her bachelor's degree in computer science.
Beautiful. I have my master's in computer education.
Nice.
I don't know what that means, but that's what I got my.
You got it. The paper says it.
Well, it's because I teach computer science, so I'm certified in that. I don't know what that means either because all the computers I learned don't exist anymore. I learned Pascal, UCSD Pascal, ENIAC, or not ENIAC. I forget what the other one was, and BASIC, and all that stuff. And like Java wasn't around. None of that stuff was around. So,
Oh, how times have changed.
but I could whip up some really good HTML and a little bit of I'm trying to think. What do we program the robots in? That's like a what is it? I don't know. I forget what it's called, but I can do that. So
Yeah, it'll probably come to you like 10 minutes after we end
yeah.
the show.
Oh yeah. Well, it's I forget because one has the semicolons and one doesn't, and ours is like we can do it in a bunch of stuff, but my students always argue because I have one kid that's a computer snob and he doesn't like to use drag and drop. And I prefer to type code, but when I have to do it in front of a lot of people to look at it, drag and drop is easier because you can troubleshoot it when 6 people are looking at it, And I have 2 kids that just argue back and forth. I'm like, just do whatever's the easiest. We need this to work,
Here's the destination.
Yes.
What's the
The robot's working. You guys can argue about this all you want. But no, that's congratulations.
Yeah, she's super excited. Now we just have to figure out how to celebrate it.
Don't be a teacher. That's all. So that's now. Does she work in IT?
Yeah. Information security for a healthcare organization.
Nice. Well, good for her. I know that's always a weight off. I like in our I got my master's in that did help me in my pay scale too. So
And so with her, for me, what's really impressive about it is she did the schooling while working full time and, you know, having a family. It wasn't like me where I, went right after high school and didn't really have any obligations and, didn't have any of those other anchors or anything like that. Just rolled through it to where I am now. But she hunkered down and did all the stuff that she needed to do. And I'm pretty sure she graduated with a 4.0
nice.
because she didn't do as many classes at a time. And it doesn't really matter whether you do 3 classes at a time or 2 classes at a time. You're still doing the classes. So
Yeah. See, when I went for my bachelor's, the only problem was I went for education, elementary education, and there were probably half of your classes you have to take within the 40-hour a week window. Like I had to okay, I can't work a real job. I have to.
yeah.
And that was my only gripe with my bachelor's was because there was at least 2 years because I had student teach, which is basically you pay to be a punching bag, But no, that's good. Yeah, so we have to take X amount of courses every 5 years. And so I went to renew my certificate and they're like, "Well, you're 55." I was like, "Yeah." Like, "Oh, you don't need to do it anymore. You longevity out." I was like, "Oh, that's awesome."
The one time being old helps.
Being old matters. You know. Well, we had what was it, No Child Left Behind or something like that when that first came out. That cost me about $1,200 because that all that meant was I had to take all these stupid tests to get tagged onto my certificate, which got me nothing other than just I had to take those tests. So, but
The hoops we jump through.
oh yes, that's the adult. Well, everyone has to. I mean, every profession, like if you boil down all the little things you have to do, it feels very reminiscent. To bring it back to Star Wars, very reminiscent of Andor and that guy just sitting in that terrible cubicle. You know, there's some days you just feel like, am I just in a cubicle and I don't know it? You
Yes.
know, we'll wake up in the Matrix and we're not in one of those bags. We're just in a cubicle staring at a screen. So, but
Filing TPS reports.
yeah, but yeah. So the other thing is we're gonna have to do a New Year's show to see what's coming out. What do we think's coming for the new year?
Do we want to do a combination then? We could do one that's kind of a recap of what 2023 was like. It's what happened in 2023 and a launch into what we think will happen in 2024.
Top 23 things of 23.
There we go. That'll work.
Because we could do it on 12, 23, 23. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Is that a Wednesday?
I don't know. Well, no, it'd be.
It'd be 1, 2, 2, 3, 2,
I
3.
don't know what I was thinking. No, we'd have to do it on
The 34th?
is the 31st?
Yeah.
No, the third. Is there 31 days in December?
30 days has
September, April, June, and November. Yeah.
all
So
the rest of 31 except for February.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Okay. So we have to do it on New Year's Eve?
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Well, I'm not going out to watch the ball drop.
Because with Restream, we could record a New Year's Day show and we could broadcast it at.
That's true.
We can do one of those fake shows like where it's like, hey, we can have a countdown.
10.
Yeah, we could do that.
Little pop. Yeah, we could. Yeah, little poppers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do we? Are we really up to that kind of level of production?
Well, it depends what we're doing on the week between Christmas and New Year's. There's going to be a day that none of us are doing anything.
Yeah, I mean, we could film it right after Turkey Day.
Yeah.
And just schedule it out.
Yeah, we'll have mustaches or something because we didn't shave that. It'll really throw people off. It'll be like when a show comes back after being off for like a season and a half, and little Timmy is now like, "Hey, I'm just here."
He's 4 inches taller.
Yeah, like that was remember with Lost. Didn't they do that with Lost where they made all the kids get kidnapped just because the production was so slow?
I think so.
Yeah. They just have them kidnap the kids.
Right, it didn't
First
get
writer strike when they did. I think Battlestar Galactica was one of those ones that suffered from that. They had this big long break in the show.
Well, Harry Potter had a couple of those things that they had to consider too, because it was meant to be 1 year after another, but there was, I think, a little bit more time passed than that, and so the kids really grew in that.
I always liked was it Peter Jackson when he did Lord of the Rings, where he basically filmed them all?
Yeah, back to back to back to back. Yeah.
Except then when they had to do the reshoots, there's some real weird scenes with weird wigs. You're like, wait a minute, I just saw him like 2 seconds ago.
Yeah.
It looked a little less wiggy.
Well, how about when they filmed Attack of the Clones and Obi-Wan Kenobi had different wigs, different mullet wigs and stuff like that.
Yeah. That's when I know when they CGI'd Yoda, they probably should have went after Obi-Wan's wig too.
Well, on that note, that's, I think, as good of a note as any to wrap up this week's episode.
Yeah, it's funny because Jordan wasn't feeling well, but I requested Jordan Hembro to come on the show today. But he wasn't feeling well, so I was trying to get us a guest. I was scrambling. Maybe we'll get him sometime. Talk toys. I just figured him and toys would have been
Oh, that would have been fantastic.
one one.
Especially considering last week we talked about some of the vintage stuff and the.
Oh yeah, I could do a whole nother one of those. Like I could do a deep. We should each just take a page, and just that's what we should do. We should each grab a page and do a deep dive of every toy on there. Like
Or what if we each took a page and did one? Because some of them are pretty involved.
yeah, or whatever. Just took like what like take a page and we each pick like one or two toys. That's what we should do. We should do a deep dive of. We each have to do one Star Wars toy and one non-Star Wars toy that we either had or would have liked to have,
Ah, okay.
and see where they are now. Because there's a, and then I'll shut up. There was a year where there was a trucker when trucking was really big. Remember, like BJ and the Bear. You're too young, but they're like BJ
No,
was.
Smokey and the Bandit and
Well,
BJ and the Bear.
I got the one villain tractor trailer, and it was like a tanker truck. Like it was like BJ and the Bear adjacent. Like the good guy looked kind of BJ and the Bearish. It was and then there was it was a long body. It looked like I always knew my trucks when I was a kid. It looked like a Kenworth or an auto car, and it had like a button on the front and the grill bumped out and smashed into it. And I think it had like a bulldog on the door, and it was like this beat up old oil tanker. And I got that, and it matched those Batman and Robin. I think they were made by Mego, but they were like this big, and they were kind of like crouched looking. Remember those? They had like,
Yeah.
and you could buy the Batmobile with the blow up bridge, or the Wonder Woman with something invisible jet and exploding tower. There was a couple sets with that, and the trucks were that scale. They also matched like the Dukes of Hazzard scale.
Now, was that the time when like Convoy was a thing? That movie Convoy?
I think it was all around that. Yeah, it was like BJ and the Bear, Convoy. Everyone was buying CBs. Everyone had to keep on trucking. The real long.
The graphic where it looks like they're all walking.
Tony Danza has that tattoo. He always talks about how that was the worst thing he ever did. And Tony Danza used to make fun of himself so long for he got to keep on trucking as a tattoo on his arm.
Oh, the decisions that we make.
Oh yeah. So anyway, that's even a really weird way to end it. But we do have our new outro. So thank you. We at least had one person watching. I don't know if it's maybe one of us have our computer on it, but whoever
I'm not doing it tonight, so it's got to be a real watcher.
You have a real watcher. So thank you for watching. If you're listening on the podcatcher, please leave us reviews, preferably 5-star. But hey, knock yourself out. Ken is found on the Rambling Star Wars Fan with new episodes coming out now that the strike's over. We've all tried to stay compliant with the strike. John is the Best Car Bucket. I know he's he had a little short one out, which was really good.
Oh, yeah, I haven't listened to it yet. I'm gonna listen to that on the way to work tomorrow.
About strike and stuff like that, and then Zoe, they haven't really got back on track yet with Star Wars Geek Girl. And then check me out on Hinton Star Wars Family on TikTok and Instagram, or just Mike Hinton on Facebook. Anything else to say?
Thanks for another awesome Wednesday.
All right, I'm gonna run this out.
Starships, but then my Falcon's hyperdrive just slipped. I used to worry about the future, but then I threw my caution to the wind. I had no reason to be carefree, no, until I took a trip to the treetop side of town. Yeah. I heard that wicked rhythm. Hey, I had no choice but to get down, dance. Woo! There's nothing left for me to do but dance. All these bad times I'm going through, just dance. Got cash in my heels tonight, baby.
No disrespect to my man here, but you ready for the real deal, superstar? Cloud City could use someone like you.